The film begins at a Halloween party. We see Eric trying to impress his friend. Then, a young man arrives at the party in an expensive car, captivating everyone. A dejected Eric leaves the party and suddenly spots a wooden box lying on the forest path from which the Jester emerged. The Jester tries to remove the mask from his face, but it's stuck to his face, as if it were part of his own. As he peels off the mask, his face is bruised and injured. He then follows Eric back to the party and begins to perform his trick on the dejected Eric. Draping a cloth over him, he makes Eric disappear, and everyone applauds. But no one knows where Eric went. Now, while Eric's friend, blindfolded, is trying to open the surprise box, everyone there suddenly starts telling her not to. But in her excitement, she doesn't listen to anyone. She keeps hitting the bat repeatedly until Eric dies. Jester had placed Eric in the place of this bedbox, and now he's dead. As soon as Eric dies, panic spreads throughout the party. Everyone starts screaming and shouting and leaves. But Jester seems unfazed and walks out smiling and laughing. Next, we see Max, the main character of our movie. Poor Max has no friends. That's why she's preparing for Halloween at home. Max is a very good magician. She knows some amazing tricks and wants to go to her neighbors with her sister to perform them and get candy. But her mom tells her, "Max, you're too old for all this. Go make friends and enjoy the Halloween party." They both leave. What would Max do at home alone? She also takes her bicycle and leaves. On the other side, we see Jester again, having captured another man. He had handcuffed him while performing a trick, and now the man is extremely nervous, as if he knows what Jester wants to do to him. Jester shows him another magic trick and begins pulling several handkerchiefs from his mouth. Eventually, the handkerchiefs get stuck in his mouth. As Jester pulls hard, a card along with the handkerchiefs comes out of his mouth, severing his mouth and windpipe, killing him instantly. Jester then burns the card to ashes with his candle. We see Max arrive at a restaurant where everyone is making fun of her costume and her. She was sitting quietly when Jester suddenly appears and sits in front of her. Jester behaves very friendly towards Max and begins showing him a magic trick. Before Jester can complete his trick, Max excitedly says, "Wait, okay, I'll tell you what happens." She takes the card from his hand and instead tricks Jester, fooling him. Jester gets angry and leaves. Max becomes upset when Jester leaves her, and when she goes outside, she finds that a boy has punctured her bicycle while playing a challenge with his friends. She becomes even more angry and throws her hat into the dustbin. Meanwhile, we're shown Just, who is asleep on a bench, when three friends came and pranked him. Jester got up and started showing them the card trick. But this time, something very strange was happening. Jester couldn't perform his trick properly. He tried to cut the children he was supposed to guess, but he couldn't guess it correctly even once. The three of them think Jester is a fool and are about to leave when Jester makes them his prey. He brutally stabs both boys to death, and the girl who survives runs for her life. Just as Jester had burned his cards after his previous killings, he tries to do the same again, but the cards don't burn. As if his killings were in vain and his purpose was not fulfilled. Finally, we see Max, who has gone to visit her older friend, Kat. Kat had taught Max magic. Max tells Kat, "I don't know why I am like this. I don't do bad things to anyone. I work hard too. I do. Yet people don't like me. They even treat me badly, and my tricks don't work." Billy explains to her that the tricks don't work because she doesn't perform them with complete confidence. "Real magic isn't what I taught you. The real magic lies within us, how we fool others with our own confidence." He then shows her a magic wand and says, "Look, this magic wand is just a piece of wood in the hands of ordinary children. But in your hands, it's a real magic trick." He was still explaining this to her when Max tricked him too. Billy laughed at this. Billy's words had restored Max's confidence. As she leaves to go home, she runs into Jester. Jester, saddened by her lack of a cap, places his own cap on hers. He asks Max the reason for her sadness, and Max tells him everything. Jester goes to the hotel and uses his magic trick to pull off the pants of the girl who punctured Max's bicycle tire. Everyone makes fun of him, and the boy is deeply confused. Jester then returns to Max and offers to go trick-or-treating together. They had first gone to a woman's house. This time, Jester asks Max to trick her. Max performs the trick and truly fools the woman. His trick was successful. The woman, overjoyed, leaves before he can even tell her. Jester also plays a trick on her, applying his magic wand to her face. This creates new skin on her face. She is left with no way to breathe, and she begins to suffocate, dying in agony, as Max watches it unfold. Terrified, Max had fled. Meanwhile, Jester, behind her, lit his candle and played one of his cards. He saw that this time, the card had burned. He was overjoyed. Panicked, Jester was riding her bicycle at full speed to get back home when Jester suddenly appeared in front of her and grabbed her. Max quickly abandoned her bicycle and ran to a man, asking for help. But Jester dropped his daughter. The man turned back to pick up his daughter, and just then, Jester came back to Max. Max was out of breath from fear. She was about to use her inhaler when Jester snatched it away. Max ran for her life, exhausted. She crouched under a bin to hide, while Jester frantically searched for her. And soon he found Max. Because of the sound of heavy breathing coming from inside the bin, Jester recognized Max. He then drags Max by the legs back to where the movie began, Eric's party. Max sees Eric hanging there and becomes even more terrified. Max wanted to run away, but couldn't. Finally, she asks Jester what's going on. Jester can't answer. Max realizes Jester isn't human. So, she picks up a nearby Ouija board and tries to communicate with it. Through this Ouija board, Jester replies, "I don't want to kill you, Max. I need you." Jester then uses his powers to summon the body of the dead Eric and speaks to Max through it, telling him that people didn't love him either. Just like people don't love you now. They don't like you. But then one day, the greatest deceiver, Death, appeared at my doorstep. I tricked him and prevented him from taking my soul. But in return, I was given a new task. Not just Death, but Death himself made an agreement with me. I won't take your soul, but in return, you have to do my work. During this conversation, Eric had gotten very close to Max. He teased him, saying, "Death gave me the task. Every Halloween, I must fool for people with my tricks and take their lives before my candle goes out. That means I had to give 4 souls to Death as a sacrifice every year on Halloween." The Jester explains, "I've been doing this for years. I've been tricking people and giving their souls to Death. But today you've defeated me. Because of this, my tricks won't work anymore, and now I need you to show me your tricks and kill them to complete my task." Max wasn't prepared for this. Jester had already committed 3 murders, and now he had to commit a 4th. Max wasn't ready. Jester tells her, "If you don't listen to me and don't complete today's task, I'll burn to death, and this debt of mine, the alcohol, will fall on you because you tricked me." Max has no choice but to refuse. So she agrees to Jester's offer. But before leaving, she stealthily takes Eric's phone from his pocket. Now, Max has to choose a man to demonstrate her trick to. Max chooses the man who punctured her bicycle at the hotel. He was sitting there looking sad. Max comes and sits next to him. Before she can perform the magic trick, the boy apologizes to Max, saying, "I shouldn't have punctured your bicycle. Just to impress those girls. Look, I did something bad for the first time, and it ended up being a bad thing. A man came and tricked me, making me a laughingstock." Hearing this, Max, who is preparing to perform the trick, changes her mind. But the boy himself snatches the card from her hand and completes it. As soon as the trick was complete, Jester arrived to kill him. But Max didn't want to kill him because he had apologized. She yelled to Jester, "No, don't kill him." But before she could, The boy himself went back to Jester and began avenging his insult. Jester didn't listen and decided to punish the boy with a quart, which the boy was holding by the collar. Jester strangles the boy inside the quart, then puts his hand in his mouth and brutally kills him. Max pretends to vomit and runs away. She actually wanted to call 911. However, we're shown from behind that Jester was following her, wearing a coat. They've only gone a short distance when the police arrive. The police ask them, "Which one of you has the phone?" Jester doesn't say anything, and Max pulls out a hidden phone and shows it. Jester realizes Max tricked him and called the police. Before Max can do anything, the police arrest him. But Jester is a jester. He uses his magic to unlock his handcuffs, and using the same handcuffs to bind the policeman, he cuts off his own hands, leaving the poor policeman to die in agony. Another police officer shoots Jester, but Jester doesn't die because he's made a pact with death. He starts hitting the officer as well, and Max, seizing the opportunity, flees. She meets a man from a distance. He tells the man, "There's a man after me who wants to kill me." The man agrees to help Max and tells him to get into his car, and they finally leave. But halfway through, Max realizes that his decision was a bad one because this guy wasn't good either. He just wanted to take advantage of Max. Before anything bad happens, Jester arrives at the car, drags the man out of the car, and brutally murders him. His blood is visible on the car window, causing Max to panic. Jester then comes over and pulls Max out of the car, but Max stumbles and falls, having an asthma attack. Jester notices that Max's inhaler is broken. He picks her up to help her, rushes to her aid, and brings her to the fire station. The firefighters' medical team administers first aid to Max, and just as Max begins to breathe and recover, Jester sneaks up behind him and kills all the other firefighters. Seeing this, Max panics and abandons everything and hides under a truck. However, Jester rescues her from there and shows her his candle, as if reminding her that their mission isn't complete yet. Max refuses to continue the mission and, tricking Jester, runs away and returns home. At home, her mother is waiting for her and scolds her for being late. Max says nothing and simply stares at her mother in silence. She hugs him as if she's been hugging him for ages. She then goes upstairs and looks at her sister lovingly, only to find Jester in her sister's room. Terrified, Max calls out for her mother, but Jester had already killed her. Jester then drags her corpse into the room, positioning it in a strange manner, and begins speaking to Max through it. He tells her that if she doesn't obey him and complete his task, he'll kill her sister too. She had no other option but to save her sister. She agreed to Jester's request because he had said he had only one victim left, and for this, Max chose the hotel waiter who had first mocked her. The two approach the waiter, who is returning home after his shift. They stop him and try to trick him. But Max has other plans. She was tricking this girl, but in reality, she had actually tricked the Jester. At the end of the magic trick, she pulls the card from his pocket and shows it to him, telling him, "Look, the last soul this year will be yours." Jester is so enraged by her actions that, to avenge Max, he first skins the boy's face. But now Jester himself is burning. He's dying, and even in his dying state, he finds no peace, and he stabs Max in the leg with a knife. Max, enduring the pain, removes the knife from her leg and crawls to the boy, cutting the skin from his face so he can breathe. But just then, the dying Jester grabs Max once more. He's about to strangle him to death, but Max picks up his magic stick and stabs him in the eye, completely burning him to death. Everything is over, but the Jester's hat isn't. A short while later, the police arrive and seal off the entire area. Hearing the news of this tragedy, Eli, Max's friend, comes to visit. She hugs him and murmurs, "I did the trick. I did the trick. Now for tricks and 4 souls every year." What she's really trying to say is that the Jester's debt has become hers, and she now has to hand over 4 souls for every Halon death. And with this explanation and demonstration, the movie ends.